Yo 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 yo. What's going on? What's happening, everybody? It's your dog Toddy checking in with a live stream on this Monday night. Kind of a late Monday night. It's 10:45 here on the East Coast. So kind of late. I would like to call this my post game show, but it's well past that time to call something a post game show. So I guess this is the aftermath of the Miami Dolphins game. This is the aftermath of it. And first and foremost, let me apologize to everyone who tunes in on a regular basis for not doing the traditional post game show. My apologies for that. I am sorry. I had every intention on doing it. But we had my goddaughters over here this past weekend, and when I say they are a handful, they are a handful. One will be 3 years old next month, and the other just turned 1. And they make me realize that I'm old, man. Because boy, they like. She'll put them asleep around about 8:39 at the latest, and soon after that, I'm knocked out too. But I love them with all my heart. But boy, they take all your dog energy, man. So they was over here, so I just didn't get around to it, and it might be a good thing that I did it, because just like y'all, that was just that was a travesty. It was embarrassing. Losing like we lost to Miami. Embarrassing. That was one of the few games that I can actually recall, especially in my adulthood, living on my own, paying my own bills, et cetera, that I just tuned out of a Falcons game. For me, it was like enough is enough. I'm done with this. So I tuned out early. It was some BS. So, I'm sure that y'all have heard from other YouTube content creators that cover the Falcons, the mainstream people, your own reading about the game. So, really not necessary for me to get too in detail about that game. It is what it is. It was what it was. Move forward, I guess, is really the best that I can say about it. But it was a terrible showing by the Falcons. Embarrassment to themselves, embarrassment to the fan base. I'm gonna try to get them a little rope, and say, we did deal with a lot of injuries going into the game. Missing our starting quarterback, missing our number 1 receiver, and technically our number 3 receiver. He was fired prior to the game. So that's a big blow to the offense. Missing our best defender, Devon Diablo. Missing our sack leader, Zach Harrison. I think for the second consecutive game, missing Jalen Walker, who has gave us some good reps, some good plays. Billy Bowman. So we were missing a lot. And I'm not going to use that as an excuse. It would be different if that was actually a game. If that was a game we lost 26-27, 31-28, even 10-7, And then I would have a little more rope. We'll say, oh, man, we was injured, backup quarterback, blah, 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 blah. But, man, we just got our ass kicked. We literally got our ass kicked. So it's hard to really give the team a long leash and formulate any kind of excuse, because at home against a 1-6 team, like, hey, you got to take care of business, Atlanta. And we did not do that. And that was very, very disappointing to me. So, I checked out of that game. Once I seen Bijan do the knee fumble, I said, man, we cooked today. No, it's over. we're not winning this game. Once I saw that just let me know what kind of game it was gonna be when I seen our guy fumble with his knee. I knew off top then, like, yeah, this gonna be one of those games here, boy. Goodness gracious. Then going into the game, I won't call it I don't want to call it a quarterback controversy, but there was like very mild talk. It wasn't a loud uproar at all, so I don't want to make it something that it never was. But there was like a mild discussion, or I don't know if debate is the correct word, that said, hey man, Kirk Cousins would probably be a better option right now than Michael Penix. Penix needs a little more time in the oven. He needs a little more developmental period going on. So, Kirk Cousins gives us the best chance of winning. And Kirk played Sunday, and Kirk looked just like Kirk did when he went through that 5-game stretch when he lost his starting job. He looked the same way. The only difference is he didn't turn the ball over. But he looked the same way. I didn't really see much of a difference outside of not turning the ball over. One thing that has become apparent with Kirk Cousins right now is the arm strength is gone. The zip, the velocity that you really need in this league, it's no longer there. His arm strength is gone. And that's really not an indictment on Kirk Cousins, to be totally honest. Kirk Cousins is 37 years old. He's at the stage of his career when he's supposed to be trending way down because he's 37. You don't have that arm strength at 37 that you had at 27, 30 years old, 25 years old, 32 years old. And he never had like the modern day athleticism or the mobility, and now he's even slower. So, that was put to bed. Kurt does not give us the best chance to win, especially when you've already drafted a younger quarterback who obviously has a higher ceiling. Best case scenario, if they're both kind of equal, then you go with the young guy because you need to develop him. Obviously. So that was that. But shout out to Kirk Cousins though. I will give Kirk. I'll always give Kirk credit for this. Last year, those first 9 games, especially during October, that was some of the most fun and entertaining time as a Falcons fan that I had seen in a long time, since the 2016-2017 era. It was actually fun to be a Falcons fan again, and a lot of that was due in part to Kirk Cousins. Playing great football. Being able to entertain the fan base, swag surfing, the personality, the wit that he displayed, in his press conferences. So I appreciate that for Kirk. And I really wish, things would have ended up better, with Kirk, but it is what it is. Father Time is undefeated. And not everybody is going to be a Tom Brady, playing like an all-pro at 40 plus, playing like a 27-year-old at 37 years old. Tom Brady is an android. He's a created player on Madden. And as Falcons fans, we all know that. We saw that firsthand, but we won't dig into that. Before we go any further, man, let's hop into the chat real quick. We got Strapped up in the building. What's going on, Strap? What's good, Toddy? Zac Robinson should have paid for his sins he has committed. These past few weekends, I was so surprised when he wasn't fired. We're going to jump into that also, Strapped up. What's going on? Got our dog Clay Melton in the building. What's going on, Clay? Hope all is well on this Monday night, my friend. It's a bird game, Toddy. Get to hear a reasonable take today. I'm going to try my best, Clay. I'm going to try my best. And I'm sure, Clay, I'm going to have some very unpopular opinions. I'll go ahead and forewarn everybody. Some, I'm sure, minority opinions, but hopefully what I say does, if it doesn't make any sense, maybe it's somewhat of a rational take. But we're gonna definitely jump into it. Got our brother Winston Thorne in the building from the eye test. Y'all make sure that you are subscribed to the eye test, and we all gonna be looking forward to their take on Wednesday night at 10 p.m. So if you're not subscribed, make sure that you are subscribed to their YouTube channel here as well. Winston and his tag team partner John. Because what's going on, Bucket Chat? Smash the like button. Yes, indeed. Thanks for the reminder, Winston. I appreciate it. Make sure y'all do hit that like button for me, man. That's one of the best ways that you can support the channel. It signals to Facebook to put us in the algorithm and spread the word. So definitely make sure that we are hitting that like button. I do thank you in advance. Clay says you can't lose like that to the worst team in the league. I do agree. Definitely agree, Clay. Definitely agree. Jay Black in the house. What's going on, Jay? How you doing, man? Hope you doing well. Jay says Zach must make adjustments and learn to counter defensive adjustments. He also says, me too, I wish Kirk had worked out for us. Yeah, I do too, man, because see, if Kirk had worked out, if Kirk could have continued that pace he was on that I mentioned just a moment ago when, we was all swag surfing and we was, had them last second walk-off victories, as they say in baseball, or the walk-off home runs. Man, like, in all probability, we win the NFC South last year. We go to the playoffs. I don't think we'd have won a Super Bowl, but at least we're in the playoffs. And now you come back here in 2025. You still got Kurt in the fold. Now you got something to build off. And now you even give Michael Penix even more time to develop and learn from a guy like Kirk Cousins. It just would have put us in a better situation than we are in right now. Our original plan got nixed, so now Kurt goes to the bench. Now it looks like wasted money, which ultimately it was, as far as his contract goes. Now Penix is put out there faster than we wanted to put him out there, and he's going through his ups and downs. So it's just unfortunate it did not work. But from what I can tell, of course, I'm not in the Falcons locker room, but I will give Kirk credit. He does look like he's doing what he can to be a good teammate towards Michael Penix. I do have saw that they say a prayer together before every game, and it looks like Kirk Cousins is being real supportive of him. So kudos and salute to him for being an ultimate professional. Now I'm gonna say this because I can't stay on too long, but after that Miami game, our fan base, even Atlanta media, have all been very angry, I think is a good word, frustrated, lashing out, or all good words to use, and rightfully so. That goes back to what Clay said. You just can't lose games like that. And when we say like that, really more specifically in that fashion. Again, if we go out here and if it's a game, if it's a competitive game, it's different. 17-14, 21-24. But for lack of better words, we just got our asses kicked. And that's the part that can't happen. So, the fans are obviously upset. Local media is upset. Local radio is upset. National media is saying, like, see, we told y'all about the Falcons. They cannot be trusted. They'll come out here and they'll beat up on Minnesota. They'll come out here and they'll beat up on Buffalo. And then the Atlanta fans be like, oh, man, the national media don't respect us. They don't never give us no airtime. And the national media said, well, you see why? You see why? They already lost 30-0 to Carolina. And, oh, man, anybody can lose a game. Then they come out here and let probably the next worst, probably the worst team or one of the worst teams in the league just dominate them. We tell y'all every year, you can't trust the Falcons. That's why we don't shine the light on them very bright. That's why when they beat Buffalo, they're not the lead story because you can't trust them. The Falcons are going to always show their true colors. So that's kind of the narrative or the talking point the national media gave us, and I'm not mad at them. We until we show otherwise, that's all we deserve. So our fan base, we can get mad all we want to when we have a big victory and we don't get the national spotlight. Well, you got to earn it. And since that 2016, 2017 era, we really haven't shown that we deserve that national spotlight. When we are the lead game on ESPN or any show on Fox Sports or anything of that nature. So we got a lot to do, a lot of work to do in that fashion. But getting back to like my ultimate point is like fan base specifically has just been upset, and rightfully so. And I'm not gonna come on here and say that you should not be upset. I'm not gonna say that you should not be upset. We got Keontae Jermaine in the building. What's going on, Keontae? Says not only did we get whooped, but we got whooped at home. Yeah, that makes it even worse. You make a hell of a point. There is no more integrity or pride in the organization. That's a very, very valid point. We got our tails kicked in front of our home crowd. That makes it even worse. We can't even use the on the road excuse. Clay says we had no fight. It's a locker room loss. I can't say. I really can't say. I think we'll have a better indicator, Clay. Probably these next two games will tell us everything we need to know. Next two games will tell us everything we need to know. If they come out here in the next game and they fight, they play good, they win. I won't say we're gonna forget about Miami, but it makes it easier to move on. If you come out here and you lay another egg against Miami and then you do the same thing the following game, at that point it's safe to say the locker room is definitely lost at that point. Places, we are still the get right game for other people. That's what everyone's tired of, rightfully so. And unfortunately, we are still everyone's get right game outside of the teams that we shouldn't beat. And that is like, that's the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde trait of this team. Is they will come out here and they'll just beat up on Josh Allen in Buffalo, and nobody expects them to win that game. Not even most of our fans. We sitting here like, is this the Falcons beating up on Buffalo like this? And then you come out here and you play against Miami and Carolina, and you get your ass kicked. We the most cereal and no milk team that you ever gonna run into. Shout out to John Harris in the building. That's the other half of the eye test that we spoke about earlier. And again, y'all make sure that you do subscribe to John and Winston at the eye test here on YouTube. They will be on Wednesday they're on every Wednesday at 10 p.m. So make sure that you do subscribe to them. And I know it's going to be a hell of a show coming up this Wednesday. So y'all make sure that y'all are on deck. John says Miami didn't beat us. We beat ourselves again. I can definitely attest to that. I can definitely attest to that in so many ways. Not only did we beat ourselves, it just looked like, John, it just looked like the team didn't have no heart. I mean, they didn't come out there playing inspired football. No heart, no fight, no dignity about themselves. It was just a pathetic showing. And it was the second showing this year like that. And you only got 17 regular season games, so you don't get too many hall passes to have that kind of performance as an NFL team. So once again, these next two games, it's gonna tell us everything that we need to know. And again, the fan base outrage and rightfully so. I'm in no position. I don't have any kind of ammunition to tell anybody like, hey man, you shouldn't be upset about what happened on Sunday, or man, we're getting carried away. You know, your team play that bad, man. You got every right in the world to be upset, to be angry, etc., etc., etc. You got every right in the world. Clay Melton says, I just haven't seen our O-line get bullied like that in the last 2 weeks. Oh, man, that's a great point. Man, I haven't seen our offensive line get bullied like that in consecutive games probably since before Arthur Smith came here. That's been a minute. That has always been our calling card. That's always been our bread and butter. Offensive line, especially run blocking specifically. Pass blocking, sometimes it can be hit or miss. It can be hit or miss. But run blocking, like these last 4 or 5, maybe it's 5.5, almost 6 years, we have been the bullies when it comes to run blocking. And to just see our offensive line get beat up and bullied these last 2 games, man, it has been a big disappointment. Big disappointment. And it's been shocking. It has been very, very shocking for me because I'm not accustomed to seeing it. And it's been happening a lot. What's going on, Gregory? Says, I totally agree to disagree. Coach Raheem, no, he's Coach Raheem put a good team together, but Zach needs to go. I think you're saying Raheem Morris put a good team together and Zac Robinson needs to go. Greg also says Zach and our offensive line suck. The offensive line couldn't block toddlers trying to come through. Speaking of toddlers, Greg said they couldn't block toddlers. And Greg, the San Francisco game, the Miami game, hey man, it's hard for me to argue with you, brother. It's man, like the Falcons have took all my ammunition away. It's hard for me to argue with you, man. And before the San Francisco game, you got Bijan Robinson looking like he's gonna break all kind of records, and now the last 2 games, he can't even rush for 40 yards. And I'm not saying that's on him, because as you're saying, Greg, as Clay is saying, like, we're losing in the trenches. The once dominant, vaunted run blocking attack of the Atlanta Falcons has been dismantled. And that's affecting our running game. You know, that's obvious. Very obvious. JB in the building. What's going on, JB? Says highs to high, lows to low. But F it. The offense game needs to go. I respect it. I can definitely respect that, man. Respect it. And that's kind of how I am too. When I was watching the game, before I turn it off, I'm like, man, fuck it, man. I'm not paying attention to this game no more, bro. I'm not. I just became disinterested in it. Turned the channel a little bit. Like, man, bump this game, bro. Bump this game. I found something else to do with my time. Jay Lanta 81 says, can I ask you a question? Absolutely. Do you still like Raheem as a coach here? Because I could tell you don't ever want to hold him accountable. You're always holding the players way more accountable. Jay Lanta, I actually want to say thank you for that observation, because for the very most part, you are correct. You are absolutely correct. Specifically, when you say you always holding the players way more accountable, you absolutely correct, bro. Yeah, and I thank you for that comment, and I appreciate that comment way more than you probably imagine, because that means whether I'm right or wrong in my stance or my perspective, or if you agree or disagree with my perspective, at least you paying me some attention, and that's something that you have picked up. So I appreciate that. And you're absolutely right, man. I'm still a players make plays person, bro. I still hold the players more accountable than I do the coaches. I still do that. Now, does that mean I'm coming on here tonight to say that the coaching staff is free of any blame? Does that mean I'm gonna come in here tonight and say, hey man, y'all blaming the coaches way too much because the players should have did this or that? No. When we get and let me just be frank, when we get our asses kicked like we did by a 1-16, at that point, I can't bodyguard the coaches like I once were. Because y'all, they used to call me the coach's bodyguard. Oh man, Toddy, you can just sit up here and bodyguard the coaches, man. You ain't gonna never blame the coaches. So I can't come with that stance tonight because obviously something isn't resonating with the coaching staff and the players. Something isn't working. And the players have a responsibility level as well as the coaches have a responsibility level. So if there is another performance or a showing from the Falcons like we saw yesterday or like we saw against Carolina, then at that point in time, it probably would be time to hand out some pink slips, unless the situation is vastly different. If you come off and you win the next 4 or 5 games and then you just have a whoops, okay, that's different. But now you built up some equity as a coaching staff for the season. But if you come out here next game and you lose by 25, 35, 40 points, at that point in time, it's like, okay, something got to give. But to correlate with your question, Jay Lana, I am going to say this. And this is the part where I know a good deal of people will disagree with me, and this will be the minority opinion. But hold what you got. Hold what you got. As we used to say on the card table, hold what you got. Don't nobody move but me. That's what we used to say sometimes when we be gambling and you won the money. Hold what you got. Don't nobody move but me. But no, what I'm trying to say is you don't fire nobody right now. And I know that's a minority opinion, but you don't fire nobody right now. You don't do it. If you Arthur Blank, you don't fire Raheem Morris right now. If you Raheem Morris, you don't fire Zac Robinson right now. And again, I've been listening. I've been paying attention to what everybody's been saying. I've been paying attention to what people on Twitter have been saying or what people on Facebook have been saying, what people have been writing about in all the major sports publications, the local publications. I've been paying attention. But you still don't fire nobody right now. You just don't do it. And I'll start with Raheem Morris, the head coach, the guy who has to take more accountability for the faults of the coaching staff. I'll start with him at 3-4. You don't fire him right now. And I know a lot of people man, a lot of people say, hey man, after Sunday's game, man, when I wake up in the morning, man, Raheem Morris better than got fired. What Arthur Blank doing, man? Arthur Blank don't care. Or one of my favorites, Arthur Blank need to sell the team. Imagine telling somebody who used their own money to buy something that they need to sell their team. That's like me walking in your house telling you, hey man, you need to sell your house, man. I don't care that you own that house for 20 years, 30 years. I don't care if the mortgage paid off. You need to sell your house, man. No, that's Arthur Blank team. Arthur Blank bought that team. No, if he need to sell the team, go buy it from him. Make him an offer that he can't refuse. Outside of that, I mean, hey, you only can be a fan. But getting back to Raheem, you don't fire Raheem right now. You don't do it. You don't do it. Even after the bad showing in Miami, in Atlanta against Miami, pardon me. Even after the Carolina game, You don't do it. Right now, the Falcons are sitting at 3-4. We played 7 games, got 10 more to go in the regular season. You're sitting at 3-4. You don't fire a coach at 3-4. That's in his second season, especially with our franchise and what we were doing as a franchise prior to Morris getting here. You don't fire him at 3-4. Now, we could conceivably come out here and win 4 out of the next 5, 5 out of the next 7, 6 out of the next 8, 7 out of the next 10. And if something like that happens, I promise y'all, December, we ain't worried about this Miami game. Hey man, that game, that was at that point. If that does happen, the narrative would be, hey man, that was the point of the game where we found ourselves. That game taught us a lesson. We needed that game to fuel us. But at 3-4, you cannot fire Raheem Morris at 3-4. Now, 3-6, even maybe 3-5, 3-7, yeah. But at 3-4, absolutely not. Absolutely not. There's truly no grounds to fire him at 3-4. And now, Morris's tenure since he's been here. Now Jay Leonard, if you still here, I'm gonna get back a little bit of my bodyguard mode here now. But since Morris has been here since last year, he's 2 games under 500. Let me repeat that. Since he's been here, he's 2 games under 500. 2 games. So he has about a 48% winning percentage right now. Now, is that a desirable winning percentage? Would I like him to be a winning head coach? Absolutely. But to be 2 games under 500 after 24 games, is that good? No. Is that great? No. It's mediocre / average. It's not trash. It's not terrible. It's not horrible. It's not horrific. And listening to our fans, that's what you would think. You would think Raheem was 10 or 12 games under 500, but he's 2 games under 500. Finished 8-9 last year. We're currently 3-4, 2 games under 500. So that adds on to the reason I say you don't fire your head coach. Another reason you don't fire your head coach right now. I'm not saying hey man, we start next weekend losing. Hey man, it's a different story. So I'm speaking as of right now. No, don't go it back. Say, hey man, tired to say you don't never fire Raheem Morris, because some people be doing that. Some people will hear you say something and they'll run and go twist your words somewhere else. And I'm like, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. But anyway, we made him the head coach at the start of the offseason of the 2024 season. If you fire Raheem, if you'd have fired Raheem Morris after the Miami game, or if Arthur Blank wake up and say, "Bump, but I'm gonna fire him tomorrow." Again, you fire him 2 games under 500 after 24 games when he inherited a team who hadn't had a winning record since 2017. So it's not like he walked into a winning situation. It's not like the Chiefs just played tonight. It's not like Andy Reid retired. Raheem inherited Mahomes and Kelsey and Chris Jones and all them boys, and now they can't have a winning season anymore. He inherited a franchise who hadn't been able to win since 2017. So to be 2 games under 500, it doesn't warrant him getting fired after 24 games. Now, you were to fire him. Let me break down some numbers for you. You fire him after 24 games. That means the Atlanta Falcons would have had, and follow me here, y'all, follow me. That means the Falcons would have had 3 different head coaches in less than a 5 calendar NFL season. Let me repeat myself and let me try to articulate myself as best as I can. If you would have fired Raheem after Sunday's game, that means you have, and I'm not counting interim coaches. So Raheem being an interim coach, I'm not counting that. And if Raheem was fired, I'm not counting whoever would have been an interim coach. But that means 3 different head coaches in less than 5 NFL calendar seasons. And the reason I say calendar seasons, because I'm looking specifically at calendar NFL seasons. Shout out to William Amon in the house. Appreciate the super chat, William. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for showing love to the channel, man. He says from this dude, bam, this dude lost the team. You know what, William? I can't say he hasn't because at this point I don't know. But I will say we have to take a wait and see approach. And I know the fan base don't want to hear that. I know it, William. I know you probably cussing me out when I said a wait and see approach. And what I mean by that, I think you got to at least give this 2 more games. And William, if he has truly lost the locker room, you'll see it in these next 2 games. We'll see how this team responds to this ass kicking. If they come out flat again and they got blew out again, okay, yeah, I can't debate that. If they come out there and they show some pride and, you know, they come out there and they get a victory in a game that they obviously will be the underdogs, then, hey, they're still playing for their coach. They're still playing for themselves. They're still playing for their pride. So, and that's what I mean, William, when I say, you take a wait to see approach. And going back to the 3 separate head coaches in a 5 calendar NFL season. If y'all remember, we fired Dan Quinn when he started 0-5. Arthur Blank said, okay, enough. You out of here. Let him go. Then that was in what, 2020? 2020? Yeah. Then you hire Arthur Smith, 2021. Then you fire Arthur Smith, 2024. Then you hire Raheem Morris that same year in 2024. So Dan Quinn, he only had 5 games in his season before he was fired. And if Raheem Morris would have been fired after Sunday's game, that would be 7 games. So that's why I say less than 5 calendar NFL season, if that made any sense. I tried to make it make some sense, but the point I'm really trying to make is other coaches are watching. And if it looks like your owner is just turning and burning head coaches, if he looks like he's just turning and burning head coaches, or you done went from Quinn to Arthur Smith to now Raheem Morris, man, it been 5 years. I'm not going to work there. I'm not going to work there. Not the top tier candidates. They're not going to try to work here. A top tier candidate, and they're seeing Arthur Blank just hiring and firing and hiring and firing, and we ain't winning. Hiring and firing and hiring and firing, and we ain't winning. A different non-biased person or I gonna be like, they just got a terrible organization. That owner down in Atlanta, he don't give a coach enough time to put all his systems in place, to build with his team, to develop any kind of continuity. He's just firing coaches every other year. I'm not going down there. Yeah. He'll tell his agent, yeah, you can apply for the job, of course, because we're gonna use that for leverage. Jim Harbaugh, yeah, put in, yeah, apply for the job certainly, but I'm not taking that job. I'm finna use that for leverage. This team over here offered me $6 million a year. Now, if I go interview with Atlanta, then we set up a second interview with Atlanta, we can turn that $6 million a year offer from this team to $7.5 million a year, because it'll look like, hey man, he might end up in Atlanta, but I'm not going to work down there. And this owner find people every 1.5, 2 years. I'm not going down there. They gonna say, well, look how he did Arthur Smith. Arthur Smith didn't even really have cap space until his final year, and he got fired. Like, Arthur Smith came into a absolutely terrible situation that first year. We didn't have no money. I mean, we weren't even shopping at Dollar General, bro. We were just taking donations, and they still fired him. Like, man, I'm not going to work there. So that's another reason as an owner, man, you got to be careful, because everybody watching. Other potential head coaching candidates are watching. The agents of these potential head coaching candidates they're definitely watching. They're taking notes. So I mean, if the ship is gonna sink, give the captain of the ship, Raheem, enough leeway, at least on the surface. So when it's time to hire your other pool of candidates, they can say, well, you know what? Hey man, he gave Rod a fair shake, dog. He didn't pull the rug under him at 3-4. He waited till it was 3-7 or 3-6, and then he pulled the rug. But he didn't pull it at 3-4, So hey man, Arthur Blank seemed pretty fair, man. Hey, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I'm gonna do the second interview down there, bro, because they gave Raheem Morris a fair shot. Arthur Blank listened to all this criticism, and it was apparently, he wasn't the right guy for the job. But if you just get in the habit, man, of just continuing to fire coaches and hire coaches and fire coaches, you're going to keep getting bottom tier coaches. And, I always hear this fan base complain, and I'm not putting it off like on the fans, like I don't complain, because y'all know me, I complain all the goddamn time. I came on YouTube complaining about this team. But I hear the fan base complain, like, man, why we don't never hire this coach? And why we can't never hire this coach? Why don't you fire every damn body? You don't give them enough opportunity, to get their systems in place, to build with their team. Anytime the going gets tough, you firing everybody. Nobody. This includes us too. At our jobs that we work, or our careers. Don't nobody want to walk into instability. Nobody wants to walk into instability. Like when you put your resume in at jobs, if you're looking at a potential career change, you're going from here to here, new job, you're gonna do your research, or you should do your research. You should. And now if you just need a job, that's different. But if you're going from a career change, you're going to do your research. You're going to talk to people like, man, like, what's the turnover rate? Oh, boy, they'll fire you about anything. But that, boy, you better stay where you at. Because, boy, they will fire you. The first time you 2 minutes late, you fired. 2 minutes late? Yes. If you ain't signed, if you got to be there at 9 and you sign on at 9:02, they're going to call you in the office. They're going to fire you, bro. Don't come work here, dog. I'm telling you, I'm about to leave my damn self, bro. It's the same thing. Nobody wants to walk into instability. So if the ship is going to sink with Raheem, hey, let it sink with Raheem. Start fresh. Start fresh when it's obvious, but don't do it at 3-4. Don't do it at 3-4. That's not the right time to do it, Arthur Blank. And, I will give Arthur Blank his credit. Like, obviously, Arthur Blank is very highly intelligent. He has more business sense than I can dream about, obviously. So I appreciate the fact that he don't wear his emotions on his sleeve. as a business owner of a entity or corporation or football team that's worth billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars. You know, he's not wearing his emotions on his sleeves. That's for us fans to do. That's for us to be erratic and up and down and overzealous and, you know, knee-jerk reaction. That's for us to do. So I'm glad that he's not feeding into it. And that don't mean like Raheem Morris can just keep losing and he won't get fired this year. That definitely does not mean that. But at 3-4, that's not the right time to do it. Especially if you want to, the next time it's time to hire your next head coach, you want to be picking at the cream of the crop. You know, like, and that's another thing when I hear fans talk about head coaches is like, people, because we're a Falcons fan, let me tell you how a lot of us, how we built and how our mind thinks. Just because we're Falcons fans, we feel like everybody want to coach for the Falcons. We feel like every player want to play for the Falcons. For example, anytime I see somebody, a free agent, get signed, and then I see people like, oh man, Terry's so stupid, Demetrius so stupid, you could have had this guy and paid him this. Thinking to myself like, yo, do understand this person was a free agent, right? That was not a trade. That person was a free agent. Not only was that person a free agent, that person was an unrestricted free agent. That means that person has the privilege, the liberty, the freedom to choose where he wants to play. Not everybody wants to be an Atlanta Falcon. They don't care about how lit the city is and how pretty the women are and how nice the nightlife is. They're multi-millionaires. They could come to Atlanta when they want to. But playing for the Falcons, like, no, I'm good on that. I'm good on them, dog. I'm good. Same thing with coaches. When I see people come, oh man, why we didn't hire that coach? Oh boy, we should have hired that coach. Oh man, why didn't we hire him? Probably because he didn't want to coach here. Probably why. Using Jim Harbaugh again, for example. Jim Harbaugh did not want to coach the Falcons. We were not at the top of his list. He went where he wanted to coach. He went to work for the company he wanted to work for. The Falcons were not the company he wanted. Man, why did we hire Jim Harbaugh, man? He didn't want to work here. And he showed us that. Jim Harbaugh interviewed here one time. He set up a second interview, then he canceled it. Oh man, I was just going through protocol. But no, I'm not. Atlanta, don't call me. I'll call y'all. I'm canceling this second interview. Arthur Blank, say the gas on that jet. You ain't got to send no jet for me. I'm good, big dog. I'm good. I really didn't have no plans of working for y'all or being y'all head coach. But, you know, I needed to go through the process. So, you know, that's how it be sometimes. And to me, all this goes hand in hand where you don't fire your head coach at 3-4. Who's 2 games under 500. You know, 2 games under 500. And the way I hear the narrative push, you would swear that Raheem was 10 games under 500. And Raheem may end up being an absolute terrible hire, terrible coach. But at this point, Arthur Blank and his crew, they've hired him. So you got to let it play out now at this point. You got to let it play out. Got to let it play out. And Zac Robinson, public enemy number 1 in Atlanta right now. Zac Robinson. Boy. Zac Robinson has a similar storyline, but not exactly. Raheem Morris said, I think it was today in this press conference, hey man, Zac's still my offensive coordinator. I'm not making no changes on the offense. Stop asking me that. And you thinking to yourself, well, damn, Raheem, this dude can't even put up more than 10 points. Why you keep thinking about this guy? Because he has to now. He's already fired a defensive coordinator last year. So if you fired your defensive coordinator last year, and then now you turn around and you fire your offensive coordinator the following year, Raheem, you might as well just turn in your resignation letter at that point. And this may be the case, but at that point, you're admitting, hey, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I had to hire I fired my defensive coordinator, fired a wide receiver coach, then I got to fire the offensive coordinator. You might as well just hand in your resignation paperwork at that point. So Raheem is sticking with him as long as he can because he has to at this point. Raheem, as far as it goes for him, he's like, man, this thing gotta work for me. I don't have enough leeway to let go of the offensive coordinator. And at that point, who gonna call the plays? And I know some people say, man, anybody can call plays better than Zac Robinson. Man, I can do better than Zac Robinson. Yeah, that sounds good on the internet. But let's be for real. Man, anybody can do it, man. Let the special team guy do it. Let Joe Blow do it, or that sound good on the internet. That sound good, especially when both your quarterbacks know one system at this point. They've been practicing one system for the last 2 years. Your superstar running back, he knows this one system with these certain plays. Well, man, anybody do better than Zac Robinson. Yeah, that sound good, bro. That sound good. You know, that sound good. You know, it sounds good. It sounds beautiful on the internet, but you know, this is real life. This is real life. You know, oh man, anybody could do what Zac Robinson. Anybody could do it. If anybody could do it, anybody would do it. Anybody would do it. And I'm not saying that Zac is doing a great job because this year he's obviously not, because the offense isn't scoring. But again, it's a difference between fans being irrational because we're upset and we get in our emotions, and actually people who have a job to do as a profession. It's a stark difference between those two. You know, I can sit and tell you, oh man, so-and-so, boy, I could do better, so-and-so. You get my ass out that window, what the fuck I'm doing? Anybody can call plays better than Zac. Boy, you start hearing that real NFL verbiage that they use in them headsets. Time out. What he said? What that mean? I don't know what he said. What you said, anybody can do it. Yeah, but I didn't mean it. I was just pissed off. I don't know what the fuck he talking about. I never heard all that shit before. And also, hey, maybe, you know, TJ Yates, you know, yeah, possibly. But it's just not that easy, especially when you got a defensive coach. And another thing about coaching, speaking of offensive and defensive coaches, now I hear people say, oh, well, man, the next coach, we can't get another defensive coach again. We got to get an offensive coach. We can't do another defensive coach. Well, what do you think Arthur Smith was? That was an offensive-minded coach. That was an offensive guy. You know, oh, we got to get an offensive coach next time. I mean, oh, we can't get another defensive guy. What do you think Arthur Smith was? And then our you know, we've been losing so long, we just get frustrated real easy. We get frustrated real easy, man, because we've been losing for so long. And I remember the same venom that Raheem is getting right now. I remember Arthur Smith was getting the same venom in his final year. Oh man, what Arthur Smith? Well, oh boy, golly, you know, he can't call no play. Blah, 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 blah. You know, Arthur Smith was getting that venom because, you know, we were just tired of losing. So we were just sounding off. You know, we were just sounding off. But he was getting that same venom. And speaking of Arthur Smith, some of what I hear too now, the criticism about Raheem, man, why Raheem get the job and he hired coordinators with no experience? He should have never did that. He should have hired coordinators with experience. Maybe so. Maybe so. Hindsight is always 20/20. Maybe so. But guess what? Going back to Arthur Smith. Arthur Smith had play calling experience as a head coach. He was an ops coordinator before. He knew how to call play. He's still calling plays now with one of the most prestigious NFL franchises in NFL history. He's still calling plays. He was calling plays before he got here. So he was an experienced play caller when he got the job. And then he hired a defensive coordinator who had a tremendous amount of experience in Dean Pease. Dean Pease had decades upon decades upon decades of defensive coordinator, play calling, all kind of defensive experience. What did that do for them? What did that do for them? Jay Leonard said, just excuses. You can call it what you want to, Jay Leonard, but one thing with me is I try to look at everything from every angle. And I don't try to stay in a mind state where I'm always emotional or frustrated, because if you stay in that mind state, it's all right to get in that mind state from time to time, but you can't stay in that mind state. You got to come back to reality at some point, because if you stay in that mind state, if you was in a situation to call a shot, you would make a lot of irrational, emotional decisions. And that's not a good thing. It's not a good thing to make important decisions when you're in your emotions or when you're frustrated. So I sometimes say, hey man, sleep on it. Sleep on it. And if you still feel the same way, go for what you know. But you should never make a bunch of important decisions when you're emotional. Falcons fans are just frustrated. Frustrated is another word for emotional. But frustrated sounds better because don't nobody like nowadays, especially us men don't like for somebody to say, man, you being emotional. But we really do be being emotional. Even me. There've been plenty of times I done came out here, the Falcons done lost, man, I'm coming on this thing. I came to bang. I'm finna come to say a lot of cuss words. I'm emotional. I just watched the team get waxed. I'm emotional. That's why when I came on earlier, before, probably some of y'all came out, probably, it probably was a good thing that I didn't come on yesterday because I'd have been emotional. And again, it's not a good idea. It's not a good trait to have, especially as a business person, to make decisions when you're emotional, because you're irrational. You're not thinking clearly. And most times than not, you're going to make bad choices. So if you call that excuses, so be it. I don't make the choices. I don't make the decisions. Arthur Blank is not looking at my YouTube channel and basing his decisions off whatever I say. Arthur Blank is definitely old enough. He's seasoned enough. He's experienced enough to not make a bunch of business decisions based off his emotions. That's why when we see Mr. Blank, he always has his emotions in order. You don't never see him really get out of character. He's always calm. And you know what? Speaking on that, I saw the Orlando Ledbetter put out a tweet that said Arthur Blank politely declined an interview right after the game. Probably why he politely declined the interview? He probably was a little emotional. He was frustrated. He was upset. So the correct thing to do as a seasoned, wise, elders person, I politely decline because I'm emotional right now. It wouldn't be wise for me to say things in the media that are emotionally driven. You know, and talk. Don't take it from me. Just talk to people who are established. I promise you, most of them will tell you the same thing. Like, man, don't make no emotional decisions. Don't make no emotional choices. You know. And I'm not saying like don't fire Raheem ever. You know, I'm just saying at 3-4. For what? So when they hire the next mid-tier, low-tier coach, y'all can be mad all over again. Oh, well, why we hire this guy? Why we hire this guy? Why we hire this guy? Because that's all that want to work for you. You're not gonna get these higher tier coaches. All that want to work for you is these mid-tier coaches, these lower tier guys. That's all that wants to work here. That's all that wants to work here. You're not gonna get these top coaching candidates because you're making emotional, irrational decisions. That's why some of the owners had a reputation that they have, because they make them kind of decisions. So keeping Zac, keeping Raheem, is that in the long-term plans for the Falcons? Probably not. But you already went through the process and hired them. It wouldn't be the best thing, in my opinion, to get rid of coach at 3-4. As the old saying goes, give him enough rope food. You know, I want to say that part. You know, I want YouTube to get at me. But you know the old saying. You know? Give him a shovel and, you know, let him dig his own hole. But if you pull the rug from under him at 3-4, then now that's on you. That's on you as the owner now. And that's why I was like going back to Arthur Smith. Man, I remember us as fans, you know, we all upset at Arthur Smith and blah blah. He the worst. I mean, I remember people. I vividly remember this. People were saying Arthur Smith was the worst head coach and hire outside of old boy. Why do I always forget his name? I guess I didn't erase him from Miller Rolodex. That college dude, Hick Suey boy, who left when Vic got in trouble. But anyway, people was calling. I can't remember his name. But anyway, people were calling Arthur Smith the worst hire in Falcons history. Oh man, that's the worst head coach ever. Now they're saying that about Raheem. Oh, that's the worst head coach ever, bro. Worst head coach ever. We just upset. We're frustrated, bro. We upset. Now, do we want to believe that we always get the worst head coaches, or are there more things to uncover here? And I think if we're being honest with ourselves, there are more things to uncover here. Petrino, thank you very much, Lisa. Petrino, I don't know. I can never remember that dude's name. Bobby Petrino. But yeah, if we're being honest with ourselves, it's more to uncover. You know, it's more to uncover. We don't just always end up with the worst coaches. You know, now some of that is probably culture driven. And now that's something that you probably can point your finger off the blank box. Maybe maybe the culture up top isn't where it needs to be. Is the reason that you continually drafting at the top of the draft and you can't win. You keep having to change coaches out. And us fans keep fooling ourselves that every coach is a bad coach. Every offensive coordinator. I'm telling you, I promise y'all. I deal with our fan base every single day. I promise y'all. Everything our fan base is saying about Zac Robinson, they were saying about Arthur Smith in his last year. Everything. Oh, he the worst play caller in the NFL. Oh my God. Somebody else. The narrative, because now we're saying we need to fire Zac Robinson, but with Arthur Smith, they were saying Arthur Smith need to let somebody else call the plays. That's what the fans were saying about Arthur Smith. Arthur Smith need to let somebody else call the plays. Arthur Smith don't know what he's doing. You know, he was a result of Derrick Henry. He need to Let somebody else call the plays. But we be just frustrated, man. We be in our feelings. This our team. We love our team. So we be in our feelings. So most of the time, all rationale goes out the window. Fan is short for fanatic. So a lot of times, all rationale goes out the window. All logical thinking goes out the window. Oh, it's all these coaches, man. Ooh, they the worst play caller, worst defensive coordinator. We emotional. We frustrated. We pissed off. We upset. So we lash out. We lash out. Arthur Smith still calling plays in Pittsburgh. Still calling plays in Pittsburgh. I remember Dan Quinn last 2 years. People, oh man, Dan Quinn, boy. Only reason we got what we were with Dan Quinn, because we had Matt and we had Julio. Dan Quinn is an idiot. He didn't know what he was doing. That was just Matt Ryan and that was just Julio. Matt and Julio got out to the Super Bowl. Man, that was Kyle Shanahan, really. Dan Quinn, if he a fucking idiot, why we hire him? Dan Quinn knew what he was. Dan Quinn take a rookie quarterback and he go to the NFC Championship game. Take a rookie quarterback, go to the NFC Championship game. Chris said we frustrated every year. We are, Chris, and that's why we be lashing out like this, bro. And like I say, I try to look at everything from every angle, bro. And when I come with these opinions, these takes, these perspectives, I know they're not going to be popular because I'm going against like the grain in a sense. Like I'm giving you some medicine you don't really want to take, but in the back of your mind, if you're rational, you're taking in some of what I'm saying, even if you don't want to hear it. Like, man, I ain't trying to hear that shit. You take some of that in, you're like, that motherfucker, he got a little point. But I ain't gonna let him know he got a point. He got a little point. Some of that shit he said makes sense, but he more wrong than he right. But he about 20% right. I give him a little bit of credit. Give him a little bit of credit. But that's what it is, Chris. Like we frustrated, like bro, and rightfully so. We had a winning season since 2017, and we are picking at the top of the draft every single year. Every single year. And since we're going down the memory lane, let's talk about Thomas Demetro. Let's talk about Demetro. I don't have any issues with Terry Fontenot right now, but I'll be hearing people say, man, Terry Fontenot, the best general manager we ever had in our history. I'll be like, what? Yeah, man, Fontenot, the best one we ever had in our history. How? Terry don't even got a winning record. Like, man, y'all talking about Raheem need to get fired. If you like Terry, you better be hoping Raheem get his shit together. Because if Raheem leave, in all likelihood, Terry gonna leave. And I mean, I've heard that from multiple people. Hey, man, Terry Fontenot, the best general manager we ever had. Hey, bro, have you bumped your head? Are you crazy? With no win? Well, that's the coach's fault. Oh, okay. That's the coach's fault. I got you. So the fact that Dimitrov didn't listen to this fan base, this often frustrated, emotional, upset fan base, the fact that Dimitrov didn't listen to us, he drafted the quarterback out of Boston College and not Glenn Dorsey. That was the coach's. Was that the coach too? Most successful quarterback we didn't have here. Was that the coach? Dimitrov doing the unthinkable. Hey man, I'm about to sell the farm and I'm about to go up here and get Julio. About to go trade Julio. That's a definitive Hall of Famer and a very possible Hall of Famer right there from one general manager in what 8, 9, 10, 4 years of each other. The same general manager, and we're struggling with this carousel of coaches right now. But this same general manager, he took 2 Hear me out. This same general manager, he took 2 different coaching staffs to the NFC Championship game within 4 seasons, within 4 to 5 seasons of each other. 2 separate coaching staffs within 4 seasons of each other. Mike Smith, NFC Championship game. Dan Quinn, NFC Championship game. 2 totally different coaching staffs. And we honestly should have won the Super Bowl both of those times. If we being real, lost big leads in both games, but we won't go back down that yellow brick road again. And then I see Thomas DeMichel just get his name, his legacy just get tarnished by this fan base. And I'll be like, how? Like, how the most successful general manager in history, his name, his legacy, his rep, don't nobody respect it. Like, are we serious right now? Are we serious? 2 of the top 5 players of Falcons franchise history, he drafted. Thomas drafted Matt Ryan. Thomas went and traded for Julio. He drafted them. And like, he don't get no respect. Like people just shit on Dimitrov like it's in fashion. Well, it's Dimitrov's fault that, no. Tell the whole story now. Tell the whole story. Thomas was kind of forced to sign, 2 contracts that were not conducive to long-term team success. And that contributed a lot to the Falcons falling apart at the end of his tenure. And that was us. And to be honest, that was us chasing waterfalls. Don't go chasing waterfalls. Stick to, we were chasing waterfalls. We were chasing the ghost of 28-3. Hey man, let's keep the crew intact. Let's keep the crew intact. Let's not split everybody up. So hey, if I gotta tell the general manager to sign these deals, do this, let's do this. Let's do this. Because we still feel like we can get back there. But to be honest, once that Super Bowl was blown, it was over. It was a wrap. Finito. It was a wrap. You don't lose that kind of lead in a Super Bowl and then you come back in another year or 2 and win it. It don't happen like that. Ask the Buffalo Bills. They still trying to get back to the big game and win it. But that's just like, I'm going down memory lane, bro, because I'm just like everything that us fans be saying, man. Like at the end of the day, we were just emotional. We tired of losing. We're just tired of losing. We frustrated. We angry. We upset. We got to take it out on somebody. Got to take it out on somebody. Got to. And I'm gonna be honest. I give it like 2 more years because I just know how our fan base is. If Michael Penix don't turn to a very good quarterback, we're gonna start throwing rocks at him. That's just how Falcons fans work, bro. Oh man, we need a new quarterback. We need a quarterback. So we need a quarterback. We need a new quarterback. That's just how we do it, bro. That's just frustrating, man. But listen, don't fire anyone. Hold what you got. Don't nobody move but me. Hold what you got. Don't nobody move but me. Don't fire anybody. If the ship going down, let the captains of the ship go down with the ship. Let them go down with the ship. And then we'll get some new shipmates next year. If y'all hate Raheem so much, if he the worst thing since since the Sega Genesis, know what I'm saying? If Zac Robinson, the worst play caller in the world, let them stay here then. Let them get themselves out of these positions, out of these jobs. Because if they continue this downward trajectory, they won't be back next year. So you'll get what you want. You'll get. I mean, let's be honest. This is not a Super Bowl team this year anyway. Let's just be honest. This ain't a Super Bowl team this year anyway. So if Raheem is trash, Zac is trash, hey man, just let them hold on. You know, just try to get your emotions out of it. You know, let them go ahead and keep driving the car. And then next year, we'll go buy a new car. We'll go to the dealership. Let's get a new car. Let's get a new head coach. Let's get a new outs coordinator. So, you know, just let them keep driving, bro. Let them keep going. But at 3-4, no. Raheem Morris ain't finna fire his offensive coordinator after 7 games. Again, that's him putting in his resignation letter. Because he just fired defensive coordinator. So if he fires Zac Robinson, like, he might as well just go ahead and quit. He might just go ahead and quit. Because that means he baked his own cake. That's why he coming out and say, hey man, Zac good money with me. I ain't firing Zac. Zac good with me. Most y'all gonna get out of me is his wide receiver coach, Jack. Jack. You know? But I mean, I get it, man. I was frustrated too, bro. I was upset too. I stopped watching that game in the fourth quarter, man. I really did. I get it. I'm tired of losing too. Again, I try to look at everything from every angle, you know. I try my best not to react on camera too much when I'm in my feelings and my emotions, you know, because I swear these choking Falcons, they'll get you in your feelings quick now. But they'll put you in your feelings quick. So I try not to react when I'm in my feelings. I have learned that it's, you know, hey, just go on the next day, bro. Just go on the next day. That way you done calm down, you done simmer down, and you know, don't let this team get the best of you. Don't let them mess up your Sunday. But I still hold true that everything ain't all on coaches, bro. Everything ain't all on coaches. Players got to play too now. Players got to play too. So for everybody in here right now, man, I appreciate you coming through. Make sure you do me a huge favor. Make sure you do hit that like button, man. That really helps out the video. Really helps out the channel. Everybody in the replay gang. Shout out to the replay gang. Y'all make sure to smash that like button too for the replay game, man. I appreciate y'all coming through. Jaylana, you be talking to me like I'm off the blank. like I call any shot, bro. Jaylana said, "Oh, let me highlight your comment, bro." I appreciate you fuck with me, Jaylana. So no accountability for them at the end of the day. Yeah, I just said if the ship is sinking, let them go down with the ship, bro. Let them go down with the ship. If they doing such a bad job, they will be out of here at season's end or right there near season's end, bro. So let them go ahead and go down with the ship, bro. Like, but being in a fever because we're in our emotions, just being in such a rush to fire somebody. Like I'm telling y'all, like we were in the same position with Arthur Smith. Let's fire Arthur Smith. Let's get rid of him. You know, let's get rid of Arthur Smith. Let's get rid of Dan Quinn. Let's get rid of Mike Smith. We just be want to fire people, bro, because it makes us feel better. But that don't mean it solves the problem. Jaylana, it may make you feel better temporarily, but it don't mean it solves the problem. Don't mean it solves the problem. And that's the part we got to come to terms with, because we are going through coaches. Dan Quinn in 2020, Arthur Smith 2023. Now we're trying to get rid of Raheem. Now when they fire Raheem and you get this another, you're gonna get another mid-tier coach. Get ready. Get ready. Especially if you fire Raheem at 3 and 4. You're gonna get another mid-tier coach. So when the next mid-tier coach comes in, and then we right here in another year and a half, remember this live stream. Remember this live stream, because we will be back. We will be back. But I'm telling you, I remember just like yesterday, everybody, oh, get rid of Arthur Smith. Oh, man, Arthur Smith, the worst thing in the world. Oh, good gracious, he's worse. Oh, man, it's too much talent here for us to be this sorry, blah, blah, blah. Now people say the same thing, right? Oh, it's too much talent here for us to be this sorry. Blah. It's more than, it's coaches are some of it, but it's more than just coaches, bro. It's more than just coaches. Coaches don't have that much control over NFL games. They don't. They really don't. They really don't. What's up, Tay? That's some of it, Tay. That's some of it. It's more than just a coach, y'all. It's more than just a coach. It's a conjunction of things. It ain't just coaches. That's just easy. It's easy to put everything on the coach. It's easy to put everything on the coach. That's the easy route. You fire that coach and then you're going to be right back here. I'm telling you, another year and a half, another season and a half, 2 years tops. We'll be right back here. Y'all be talking about fire or fire whoever the coach is. Fire Bobby Smith. Bobby Smith and the OC. By that time, the offense will probably be ticking, and then we'll be blaming the defense coordinator by that time. Y'all know the Falcons are the most cereal with no milk team in the league. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? But it's more than just coaches, y'all. It's more than just coaches. But hey, I'm gonna let y'all go, man. This was a great live, man. I want to thank everybody. Also, Jay Leonard, shout out to you, man, for keeping me on my toes. Keep the feedback coming, man. Anytime there's a disagreement, or you don't agree with something I say, please, type it in the chat, man. All opinions are welcome here. So I appreciate everybody, man, coming through. I will try. What's today? Tuesday, man. I'll try to come back and do another live sometime this week, because this gonna be a spicy week for the Falcons fan base. It's gonna be a spicy week. Shout out to you, John Kemp says, hey, Toddy, you're 100% right. We have personnel problems. That's definitely some of it, bro. That's the part people just don't want to talk about, man. People don't, hey, man, like sometimes your players just ain't up to par. And you got players ain't up to par. You got this ain't up to par. This ain't up to par. This ain't up to par. That's why you continue to have the same problem decade after decade after decade after decade after decade. Hey, but it's been real, man. God bless y'all. Y'all have a good night. Peace.